back on the hunt for bargain bangers in 3 brand new CEX stores, and this time we'll be discovering how sometimes the best items in CEX aren't always in plain sight. Welcome to my continuing mission to visit every CEX store in the entire world. From the weird to the wonderful, the big to the small, I am here to visit them all. This is the Crazy World of CEX. Hello again folks, and welcome back to the Crazy World of CEX, my continuing adventure to try and visit every single CEX store in the entire world. And this time we are back in London after a particularly expensive night at Wembley Stadium. So, now more than ever in CEX this time we are looking for the bona fide cheap bangers. Yes, you can spend an extortionate amount of money when hunting in CEX, but for me, one of the fun things about hunting in CEX is finding cheap bangers, and sometimes you can find these cheap bangers in the most unlikely of places, sometimes hiding in plain sight. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and please subscribe, as I put new videos out every Saturday night at 5, as well as bonus content throughout the week, and I really want you folks along for the ride. If you want even more great gaming content, come and give me a follow over on Twitch, twitch.tv/DannyGamesman Twitch. Here we go then, our first CEX store, this time on the Crazy World of CEX, is just a stone's throw from the tube station Edgware, and on the outside this looks to be a fairly small CEX store, but of course, as we always say here on the Crazy World of CEX, we judge a CEX store not by its size but by its content. And let's get straight into the glass cabinet of dreams, and straight away we have a couple of nice looking GameCube consoles, some Game Boys, and a little bit of retro here. Nothing too much to write home about, but I'm sure we can still find some hidden gems here. Going down, many PlayStation 5 and some PlayStation 2 heavy hitters, including a very nice steelbook for Resi 4. As I said then, this is a fairly small CEX store, and as expected it has some fairly small game sections. So you can see here the PlayStation 4 section is fairly small, but I was actually surprised at how large the Nintendo GameCube section was. All around the country, GameCube sections seem to be shrinking, but this one at Edgware was surprisingly large and had some pretty decent titles. I found about 95% of the GameCube games I want for my collection, but I'm always on the lookout for those last 5%. Heading to the Xbox Series X section, I managed to find a really fun game here. A game which not a lot of people talk about, but a really good remaster on the Xbox, Sniper Elite Remastered. Mainly because this comes with all of the DLC, including an absolutely fantastic DLC where you get to kill a certain dictator from World War II. Whenever I head to any CEX store, I always check out the Xbox 360 section. That's because even though I have a very healthy Xbox 360 collection, I'm always looking for games which are missing from it, such as Burnout Revenge, which I did pass on as it didn't come with the manual. Because here's the thing, Xbox 360 prices are all over the place at the moment, but I'm always looking for those hidden gems or cheap bangers. Games such as Ninja Blade, an absolutely fantastic game which thankfully I already have in my collection, because honestly, so many of these games are only going to get more and more expensive in the coming years. Just before we left Edgware, I did manage to find something very exciting hidden on the shelf here behind the counter, but you'll have to stick around until the pickups to find out what little hidden banger I found here at Edgware. On to the next one. Next up is Holloway CEX, once again a very small store, but one thing which blew me away about this store straight away was they had a very strong window display. This Assassin's Creed Brotherhood Codex edition here was really cool, as well as this PlayStation 4 Hogwarts Legacy and South Park The Fractured But Whole. But this really interested me. Yes, it's only £1.50, but by the looks of things, this is a sealed PlayStation 3 game in CEX. Very interesting indeed. Now, full disclaimer, when we visited Holloway CEX store, they were undergoing renovations, but heading straight to the PlayStation 5 section, they've still got games. It may be one of the worst games of all time, but I still, for some reason, want to play Rise of Kong. I just have this need to play terrible games sometimes, just kind of a palate cleanser, but this is a game I'm looking to jump into very soon. Diablo 4, very excited to play this one, and hopefully be streaming it very soon over on Twitch. Whenever I visit CEX, I'm always on the lookout for oddities like this, slip cases or little bonus cases, such as this UAC Doom 2016 pack. I think it came with some patches and a map. It's one I already had in my collection, so I did leave it behind, but for £4, a cool find. This is absolutely crazy, £40 for Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 on the PlayStation 4, and even crazier since this has gone up to £48. £8. I'm very, very glad I picked up that game many, many years ago before the hype of Baldur's Gate 3, but cheap bangers are still out there, such as this PlayStation Essentials Move Edition of Heavy Rain for just £1. An absolutely fantastic game, and it does go to show you can still get some cheap bangers for the PS3. Once again, cardboard sleeve. This one was very cool, a little bit rough, so I did decide, unfortunately, to leave it behind. This is another cheap PlayStation 3 banger I would recommend picking up. Resident Evil 5 Gold Edition. That's because this is the only way to get all of the DLC for this game physically on the disc and for a bargain price. Finally, on the PlayStation 3, as a TMNT fan, I was tempted to pick this game up, but I do already own it for the Xbox 360, but once again, another cheap banger for the PS3. Now, I may be in the minority here, but I love PlayStation VR, and this is an absolute banger you can pick up for just £8, The Walking Dead Onslaught. There has never been a cheaper time to collect for PlayStation VR, and honestly, I think in years to come, this is going to be a very, very desirable console to collect for. Finally, here in Holloway, we're hitting up a surprisingly large Xbox 360 section, and if you've been a fan of the channel for a while, you will know I'm a massive fan of steelbook collecting, and there was not one but two steelbooks here in the Xbox 360 section, but unfortunately, they were two of the most common steelbooks ever released on any console ever. Finally, here in Holloway, we're sticking with the Xbox, but this time the OG Xbox, and once again I found some pretty interesting titles here. But once again, much like Edgware, here in Holloway, I managed to find something really cool behind the counter here at CEX, but unfortunately, once again, you'll have to stick around to the pickups to find out what I found cool here in Holloway. Our final CEX store this time on the Crazy World of CEX is Wood Green, and once again this was a fairly small CEX store, but quite possibly the largest of the three we visited this time, and it didn't take me long to find something super cool in the glass cabinet of dreams, this clear blue PlayStation 1 controller. I absolutely love these clear controllers, and there is no way I'm leaving that behind. You see the classic kind of grey PS1 controllers all the time, but it's very rare to see the clear coloured ones, so I had to grab it. I was actually pleasantly surprised by the selection of retro here in Wood Green, including a surprisingly large amount of Dreamcast games, a console which, honestly, I'm surprised is so cheap to collect for in CX. Lots of Megadrive and Master System, but unfortunately, like I've said before, we're seeing more and more of these without the manual, which is a real shame, but there was some pretty cool loose N64 games, including South Park, a game which I've been on the lookout for a very long while, but I did decide to pass this time, but it's still a cheap banger. Wood Green did once again have some fairly small sections. Like, look at the size of this PlayStation 4 section here. It's pretty small, nothing really to see here. It wasn't until I went to the PlayStation 5 section that I found the first game, which has interested me for quite a long while, Aliens Fireteam Elite. Has anyone played this game? I'm a massive fan of the Aliens franchise, but I'm on the fence about this one, so comment down below if you've played it. Again, continuing on for the PlayStation 5, and another game which so many people have recommended to me, Trepang 2. A game I haven't played still, but I've heard very, very good things about this one. So once again, comment down below if you've played this scary first-person shooter. Moving from the PlayStation to the Xbox, and I found a cheap banger here, which I'm picking up for my wife, as she is a massive fan of these kind of building management games, and for £2, Tropico 5 Complete Edition is an absolute bargain, and will hopefully earn me some brownie points from the Xbox One to the Xbox 360, and a surprisingly large section here. And at first I thought it was something cool here, but unfortunately, it's a reprinted cover. I absolutely hate these. Like, who picks these up? I'm sure they just sit on the shelves forever, but this was very, very cool and goes to show PSP cardboard is getting more and more desirable. This triple pack was super cool. I think if I didn't own all three games separately, I'd have been tempted to pick up this cool little collector's item. I was really impressed by the selection of PSP games here in Wood Green, and there are so many bangers for this console, which is essentially a portable PlayStation 2. And for a lot of games, such as Manhunt 2, this is a much cheaper way to play some of these absolute bangers for a much, much cheaper price. Last find here in the PlayStation 3 section, a game which everyone needs to play. I would say the best Telltale game ever made, The Wolf Among Us. If you disagree, comment down below your favourite game made by Telltale. I must admit, I'm a big fan. That was our third and final CEX store here in London. We managed to find some absolute bona fide bargains in all three of these CEX stores. But now we're taking the train back to Norwich because, of course, as is tradition here on the Crazy World of CEX, we need to hit up my local CEX store here in the fine city of Norwich. Now, I am on the lookout for a Megadrive bargain banger. This is a game I missed out on when I went to Nottingham Gaming Market recently because I could not find a copy of this game in decent condition. It's a cheap banger, only £15, but the copies I picked up just didn't pass the test because when it comes to retro, for me it's all about condition. Now, I couldn't see it at first. That's because it was hiding in plain sight once again in the drawer here under the glass cabinet of dreams. So for games in stock in CX, it's always worth asking. Here we are then back in the games after hitting up 3 brand new CEX stores in London on the hunt for cheap bangers, and most of the cheap bangers we found this time were hidden in plain sight, starting with this one here from Edgware, Call of Duty Black Ops 3, and this is the hardened edition for the PlayStation 4. This was behind the counter, and if you've been a fan of the channel for a while, you will know I love a good steelbook, and this one was a bargain. The standard price for Call of Duty Black Ops 3 for this steelbook version of the game, and this is a really cool looking steelbook, especially with the zombies on the back. This is a really nice one. So not only did I get the steelbook, it also of course came with a slipcase which was in pretty good condition, and it also came with this set of kind of collectible operations cards which are super cool. And honestly, it's worth keeping an eye out for items like this at CX because cheap bangers like this are normally the same price as the standard version of the game. Next up, we were off to Holloway, and something I don't think I've ever seen in CX before, and especially not at a bargain price. A brand new game. Straight away in the window, I saw this brand new copy of Virtua Fighter 5 for the PlayStation 3. And yes, this is a legit brand new PlayStation 3 seal. This was just £1.50 for a brand new PlayStation 3 game, which is absolutely crazy. I'm just very, very thankful that when this game was traded into CX, they didn't open the game. Once again in Holloway, much like Edgware, I managed to find some awesome cardboard hiding behind the counter in CEX. This time we have Deus Ex Human Revolution, but this is the augmented edition. But unlike Call of Duty Black Ops 3, you did have to pay slightly more for this awesome special edition of the game. But I think it's worth it because inside you can kind of fold this out so it has this awesome little slip case. And in here we have both the game, the DLC codes, and a bonus DVD. So this was considerably more than the standard version of this game, but I think it's cardboard like this, which in the future is going to get more and more expensive. It also comes with an art book, and honestly, for the condition, I just couldn't leave it behind. Finally in London, we headed to Wood Green, and as soon as I saw this incredible PlayStation 1 controller, I just knew I couldn't leave this behind. I absolutely love these limited edition coloured PlayStation 1 controllers. For me, clear plastic is the peak of design technology. Technology design peaked in the 90s, and I love this clear blue controller so much. I'm definitely on the lookout for the full set of these coloured controllers for the PlayStation 1, as I just absolutely love them. And for 12 quid, it's an absolute bargain. And speaking of bargains, our final pickup from the London CX stores is this game right here, Tropico 5 for the Xbox One. And I picked this game up for my wife as she just loves these kind of building management games. And this one is an absolute bargain at just £2, and it is a complete edition of this game with all of the DLC. And once again, for £2, this is, without a shadow of a doubt, a bona fide banger. Our final pickup this time on the Crazy World of CX is from my local CX store here in the fine city of Norwich. And if you take nothing else away from this video, please remember this. If you go on the CEX app and check your local store and it shows there's a game in stock, it's always worth asking. That's because this game right here, Virtua Racing for the Megadrive, was showing in stock in my local CX store, but when I went there I couldn't find it on the shelves. I asked one of the members of staff and they found it in a drawer below the glass cabinet of dreams. Of course, a CEX store can only display a finite amount of retro goodness, and this game for some reason didn't make the cut, which is a real shame as I've been wanting to play this game for a really long while. I actually bought a copy of this recently for the Sega 32X, but alas, I don't own that console. yet. And I've been trying to find a copy of this fairly common game in good condition. And I dare say, this is what I call good condition. This is in absolutely fantastic condition. And for £15, an absolute bargain. There we have it then, folks. That was another episode of the Crazy World of CEX, and 3 brand new stores cross off the list of the frankly hundreds I still have to visit all around the world. But next episode we hit a real milestone. I cannot believe recently when I counted how many CEX stores we have already visited, and trust me, you do not want to miss the next episode. So if you enjoyed this episode, hit that like button, subscribe, and who knows, maybe next time I'll be hitting up your local CEX store here on a Crazy World of CEX. See y'all soon!